Alrighty, hey traders, John Howell here. Today we're going to be looking at the stock market, and man, oh man, we're starting to get into that rollover effect that I was talking about for the last few days, that we may get that. I was actually thinking we'll probably continue up to the upside, but we haven't. We've continued to roll over. So now, guys, we are a major danger and a major alert for the markets right now, especially over the next few months. Or next few weeks, should I say? Not the next few months, next few weeks, and if there's going to be some strong selling movement, we're going to see it over the next 1 to 2 weeks in the markets. But I don't think it's all bad news. I don't believe we're at the top of the markets right now, even though I'm expecting now the market is actually telling me, and this is where the difference is between what I think and what the market is actually telling me. I think we're going to continue up. The market's saying, you know what? No, we're now at the top of top of this move. So a correction, sharp correction, has started. What I believe. We're going to see a lot more stronger selling now coming into the market. But I don't believe it's going to be all bad news. I believe we're at the massive top. We're going to see a 50% crash. I believe this is just going to be a correction. So let's get straight into the charts and let me show you what I'm seeing. Don't place a trade based on what you're seeing in this video, because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Alrighty, traders, let me get straight into the charts. I just want to let you know that I've been opening up my coaching program for the last couple of weeks. I've been running applications, and I've just recently opened it up, and I just recently offered someone 70% off to my coaching program. If you need my help, if you want to learn the #1 most powerful trading system on the planet, if you want coaching every single day to make sure that you're not making mistakes, or when you're confused, or you want some help, this coaching program is for you. It starts today and ends at the end of this year. The 70% off coaching program that I'm running only goes for 1 day only. So today is the very last day. On the very next page, on that very first thing in the description, click on that right now. On that page, you'll be able to see all the details that goes to the actual coaching program. 70% off. This is just a 1 day sale. The reason why I'm running this is because I just recently offered it to someone. So I thought it'd be fair to offer it to the public as well, and also to my list. So once it's done, and that's it. I'm going to close it down, and then it's going back to the actual full price. So very first thing in the description, go click on that right now. Go check it all out before you miss out on this once an opportunity here for 70% off. Let's get straight into the coaching program. Let's get straight into the actual charts here. So the thing that I'm noticing here with the charts, look at this here. So we actually talked, we talked about this last week, didn't we? Oh, I talked about this actually yesterday. We said, okay, what's the Dow Jones doing here? And let me just share this with you here, okay? So right now, the Dow Jones in itself is doing what? The Dow Jones is making a high and a significant lower high right now, and we're breaking down. So what does that mean? That tells us, let me just remove this trend line because it's just a trend line, right? The reason why we have trend lines, why do we put trend lines there really, right? We say, I'm actually hoping it'll bounce, right? Because I want to see this thing go up to 40,000. I want to see the Nasdaq hit 17,000. Why? Because I want to be right? And the reason why I want to be right is because I've got a video of my main YouTube trailer video on my YouTube channel says what? 17,000 Nasdaq. Now we still could actually hit that, right? Even after having a pullback, I still believe we're going to go for a move up, but I'll talk about that in just a minute. Now, why would I think that? Ego, right? I'm looking for all these reasons why the market's going to go up. That's my ego. But I need to remove my ego, remove what I want it to tell me, and all these reasons why the market's doing, all the reasons why I want this thing to do its thing. And then just look at the market as is, and look at reality as it is, and then say, okay, what's likely to happen moving forward? And so what we're looking at here when we're looking at the Dow Jones is, as you can see, we have completely started to round over here. We've made a significant lower low. We've now rallied up. We've now made a significant lower high, and now we're breaking down. So where is the Dow Jones likely to go to now? We're rolling over. Firstly, the first thing I must say is this. Danger, alert, this next 1 to 2 weeks is probably going to get pretty ugly. It's not going to be really ugly, right? especially if you're not like, guys, I don't really care if the market pulls back because I'm in positions right now, and I'm in a couple of really amazing short positions. So if the market's going to crash and drag my positions with it, guess what? Happy camper this guy, right? So I don't really care. But I'm just reading what the market's telling me. And it could get quite ugly for the bulls, and we could see a sharp correction. And it's probably likely to be starting maybe even tomorrow, right? Black Friday. Is it going to be Black Friday tomorrow? Then moving into the first or second week of October. So where are we likely to go to based on this here? Let's actually look at this here. So firstly, the short term, what I'm seeing is we're probably likely to see now a pullback because we are now changing the trend. We made a lower low, ran up, made a lower high, and now we're breaking to the downside. So we are getting that. The reality, again, my ego says, no, we're going to hold support. We're going to rally to the upside. We're going to go to 17,000 on the Nasdaq. Right? All that sort of stuff. You may be in that situation right now, right, where you're trying to find all these reasons. You're looking at indicators and looking at moving averages. You're trying to find resources. You're looking at news, trying to find all this stuff to support why your stock or why your investment is going to go do its thing, and now, or why you think it's going to do that, right? Again, my ego, because I've put it out to the public that I want to see a 17,000 Nasdaq by the end of this year. I'm doing that because I want to be right. So I'm looking for all these reasons why the market's going to hold up and it's going to go up. But the reality says to me right now, at least right now, that we are rolling over. We're in a downtrend. The market's rolling over. So the reality of the situation is that we are now likely, high probability to start to see a movement on the downside, at least for the short term. That's the reality. I could ignore reality and say, nah, it's not going to drop down. No. I'm going to look for all these reasons, support. I'm going to put support lines there, and this support line's going to hold, and this long-term moving average, and this method or that method or whatever, right? So I can do that in the markets, but I'm ignoring reality, right? I'm ignoring what the reality of the market. The market right now right now is saying, okay, we're rolling over. So I can ignore reality of what's happening right now and try to be right because my ego, again, put my ego to the side. But I can't ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. This is exactly what happened with Bitcoin when we went from 60,000 down, when we actually went from 50,000. Once it actually broke 50,000, we went straight down to 30,000. This is the exact same pattern it did. It formed a top, and when we broke the low, then we started to see a significant pullback in the market. And so that's what we're probably likely to start to see now, guys, moving into tomorrow and moving into the next couple of weeks. We're likely to see that, and we're likely to see it's oh my goodness, it's all over. Okay, so whether my calling of the end of this year still may be right, but I'm putting that to the side, and right now I need to look at the market as is right now. It's okay, what is the market telling me? And what the market's telling me is this: we have made a high, a low, a lower high, and now we're getting down towards the low here. And look at the moving averages. So massive probability we're going to start to see something like this now over the next few weeks. So where's the Dow Jones likely to get to? Well, looking at this here, it does look like that around the 31,000 level, I would say. There's this big, massive long-term trend line coming up through here on the Dow Jones. And that's where I believe we're going to get to. So, guys, I don't believe that this is going to be a crash, because we're not in that environment. Where I believe we're just going to get a nice correction like we do most years. Most years we get a 10% correction, around that, 8%, 12%, that sort of range, and then the market goes back up, right? And that's most of the time it does that, and then 20% of the time it doesn't. Make sense? So looking at looking at the Dow Jones, now where we are, we're probably going to get a pullback down towards this major support level down here around the 32, maybe even around the 31,000 level. Now again, guys, that's on the absolute short term here, okay, for the next few weeks. Long term, what I see is this is going to be a correction, that the Fed's going to do whatever it's going to do, and we're going to see a reflation after this pullback. We're going to see a reflation back in the markets, and then we're going to go for another big move. What's likely to happen is that the market's going to pull back. It's going to be a correction. We're going to see, again, another massive stimulus package passed. And what happens every time we get a stimulus package passed? What happens to the following 6 months after that in the stock market? Right? So, correction, yes. Crash, probably not. Now, again, I may be wrong with that, right? So I'm going to keep listening to the market, listening to the charts, and do that. And the reason why I say this, guys, is because I personally have learned this the hard way. By trading, what I mean by listening to the markets and looking at simple trend analysis is I've known that for a long time, but I made the big mistake of doing exactly the opposite to that when Trump was getting elected. See, when Trump was getting elected, we actually started a very big bull market, right? We went sideways for a while. Let me actually just share this with you here. So if I go to my weekly charts here, and if I go back to the weekly chart here, I want to just share this with you because I want to share with you that this has actually come from not listening to the markets. Look at this here, right? So if we're using simple trend analysis, the trend is your friend until the end, right? Look at this here. So look what the charts are telling me at this time, right? And again, I've been trading for 17 years and I've known this, but when Trump got elected, for some reason I started listening to all the newsletters, the subscriptions. Everyone said the market's going to crash, so I believed them, right? I'm like, I'm going to the market's going to crash, so I believed them. And so I was, and so look what's happening here, right? Trump gets elected, low, higher low, breaking past previous high. Who's in control right now? The buyers. Again, this is the week that Trump got elected. So the buyers are in control. We're in an upward trend. The trend is your friend until the end, right? Is there any sign of this thing sort of flattening out, not working? No. Right? And so I was short about $500,000 around this time. Complete and absolute idiot I was. Complete idiot, because I'm just like, I got into this position and for the prior 10 years or so leading up to that period of trading successfully and doing really well, I completely threw away everything that I was thinking that got me to that point and started just focusing on newsletters and fundamentals and all these reasons. And even Robert Kiyosaki came out and said that, the market's going to crash this year, and I predicted it last time, and so this is the year it's going to crash. And so I started believing Robert Kiyosaki, see Harry Dent, and even Peter Schiff, and all these people out there were saying that we're going to crash. Now, that's the wrong fundamental to look at, right? If I'm trying to get a good understanding of what the market is, I need to go read Ray Dalio stuff. Ray Dalio stuff gives me a good overall template of where major tops and major bottoms and what causes the top to be in place and what causes major bottoms to be in place and what happens to the boom and bust cycles and so on and so forth, right? That's the big macro picture if I'm trying to say, okay, where are we right now? But even when I understand the Ray Dalio stuff, I need to bring it back down to what the market's telling me. And so the reason why I say the trend is your friend until the end is the reason why number one is you need to understand the trend analysis is because if we're ever going to fight the market and the market's going up, that you have a massive probability of being wrong, right? Of being wrong. And so that's where I'm so big on trend analysis is because the trend is your friend until the end, and the highest probability is obviously when the market's continuing that trend, right? After you get a nice pullback and then you get a nice continuation, nice pullback, nice continuation. And so that's where I'm very big because I had $500,000 short here. Now again, at that time I got out of the market and I was down about $150,000 or so in the hole when I got out of those positions. Now I made that money back plus a lot more by the time I actually finished that year off. So I still finished the year off good, but it really killed my confidence for about a month or two before I got back into the swing of things, back what I know how to do, which is trade the market well and do really well from it. So when I start to talk about the trend analysis and really focusing on what the market's telling me, a lot of people say, well, the market's manipulated and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, guess what? They've been manipulated for a long time. It's just not this year, you know what I mean? Silver, gold, all that sort of stuff. So the market is always talking to us and we need to really listen to it and understand what it's doing. And this position here where I could have lost almost $500,000, but I didn't. I got out quickly because I came to my senses. What I was doing was what? I was putting all my positions on based on a hope because all these people out there were saying something, subscriptions and newsletters, and we're going to top of the market, we're going to crash, and blah, 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 right? And just go. But what was I doing? I was ignoring reality. The reality was we're in an upward trend right now, and we're just breaking out of a long sideways range. We're probably going to be starting a very big bull market here. So I ignored reality, but I couldn't ignore the consequences of ignoring this reality in the markets. And so I had to get out quickly. Again, it was still $150,000, $200,000 loss, somewhere around there. Between that there, I can't remember exactly what, but it was between 150 and 200,000. Again, I made that money back plus a lot more by the end of the year. But it really killed my confidence because I spent a good 12 months spending all this time on all this crap that didn't make a lick of difference to the bottom line of my trading. Does that make sense? And so when I do like things with my coaching program, you'll notice with my coaching program, I really get you to understand what is the trend on the weekly charts? What's the trend on the daily charts? Where are we right now? Because this is the big thing. And that's obviously with my coaching program, I'm always there every single week to help you get better and better at that. But that's the reason why, like when we're looking at the markets right now, we go back to the daily charts and we look at where we are right now. Look what's happening here. Lower high, breaking down. So if I just use some sort of extension tool as well too, like a projection tool, and I go from the high down to the low, and then I project this down, I guess the 1-to-1 is just around about there somewhere, I'm guessing. So that looks like a 1-to-1 projection there. It's probably going to break that. But looking at this here, we're probably going to break that. We're probably going to head back down towards this, again, this sort of significant 31,000 level. But again, guys, what I'm seeing right now is that this is a short-term technical drop, but it's not the major top. We're not in. The government's going to come back in, the Fed's going to do their thing, and we're going to see a massive reinflation. This is going to be a buying opportunity. So be patient, expect that this is going to happen, but be excited because it's also going to create a lot of amazing buying opportunities in the markets that we didn't have before. And then we're going to see, just picture this, right? Wouldn't you love to go back to the Corona days when the market was down 30, 40% more? Wouldn't you love to go back to those days and buy stocks? Well, guess what? Round number 2, but not as bad, has just started. So therefore, over the next week or two, we're probably going to see this massive pullback in the markets, then a bit of stabilizing, and then a race towards the finish line towards the end of this year. So for the next couple of weeks, down, maybe a week or two of sideways, and then November, December are going to be one crazy bull moves. But October is going to be really rocktober in the market. And so again, listen to the markets. If I look at the S&P 500, and they're just trend lines. Let's just remove the trend lines off. We do have this major long-term. You know what? I'm just going to remove that as well too. Who cares about that? Let's just look at these levels through here. I'm looking at major support and resistance levels in the markets, and as you can see, right, look what's happening here. Look at this. Look at this S&P 500. We've had higher lows all the way up. See this here? Higher lows all the way up. Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. And again, guys, I know this sounds simple, but we need to keep listening to the markets on where we are in that phase of the market. And if we're making higher lows, guess what? The trend is continuing. We made a lower low, now a lower high, and now we're breaking down almost past these lows. So the trend is your friend until the end. Guess what? The reality of this is at the end of the trend. If I still sit there and look at the 200-day moving average and the overbought indicators and all this sort of thing, and the reason why it's going to bounce and blah, 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 all this sort of thing, right? I'm forgetting the number one thing, which is the market itself. And again, if you go back to my story about when Trump was elected, man, that hit my confidence so much for a good 4 to 6 weeks before I could even get back to the markets at that time and start to get back on track again, because I'm just like, I was such a complete idiot. What did I miss? Because I'm doing what I was doing is what probably a lot of you guys are doing at that time, is just like subscribing all these newsletters and the subscriptions, because we think all these people out there know the answer, right? They know the answer. That's what I was going through at the time. So I did all that sort of stuff. And because everyone was saying the same thing, I thought everyone was going to be right. Again, Robert Kiyosaki, the subscription to newsletters, Peter Schiff, Harry Dent, all these people were saying the same thing, right? So I thought, okay, well, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, maybe there's something else to this. So I started going based off them. And the only thing I needed to do was remove all that crap and just, okay, market, you tell me. And if I just did that, I would have actually been long at least the market and not short. And instead of being down 200 grand, I would have been up 400 grand and from that move, and continue to make a lot more money throughout the year. So I hope you can see what I'm saying here as well too. And again, in my coaching program, link in the description there. I walk you through a lot of this stuff. I do a live session every single week where I really walk you through this stuff every single week to make sure you drill it into, to make sure you get really, really good at this, and also trading as well too. So you can see we're making lower highs here. So we're probably going to continue down, making a very, very big move on the downside. This is getting really, really risky, guys. And so being long this market at this time, if you're not an investor, no good. No good, no good. Looking at the Dow Jones, looking at the Nasdaq as well too. The Nasdaq's continue down, but look what the Nasdaq's doing, right? Again, I was long the Nasdaq recently. I just recently got stopped out of the Nasdaq for like a 20% profit. So I made or should I say the QQQ? I got stopped out of the QQQ. Again, it was about a 20% profit I made on that one there. Nice small profit. I locked in because the option ran up to about 80%, and I put in some profit stops to protect at least some profit if it did pull back against me, and so I did, and I recently got stopped out. So I still made some money, and I'm very, very happy with that. But now we can see we're starting to really, 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 really top over here. We can see here that we're having a high, and now a lower high as well. And so we can see that what's happening, we can see that high, lower high, and now we're actually breaking past these previous lows. So even on the Nasdaq, we're actually got this head and shoulder formation forming in the place. So on the Nasdaq, again, what does my ego tell me right now? My ego, which you may be in the same situation right now, my ego says, nah, this is not going to drop. Why? Because again, my trailer on my YouTube channel says my target for the end of the year, 17,000 Nasdaq. So I'm like, any reasons why this market's going to drop? Nah, it's not going to happen, right? Because there's major support level here. There's this major long-term trend lines. They're going to bounce and all these reasons. But what am I doing? I'm completely adding all this other stuff and completely ignoring the reality of, you know what? The market's actually rolling over now. We're no longer in an upward trend anymore. We're rolling over. Not only did we roll over here, but now we made a lower high and now we're rolling over. And now we're making a head and shoulder formation. So if we had a look at this here from a projected point of view on the Nasdaq, we would see what? We would see that would be the neckline through there, shoulder, head, shoulder. And if I brought this down from here to here, guess what? Right? We can see that. Is that the straight one? Yeah, so we can see that. So the Nasdaq is probably going to make its way back down to this level down to here. That's where the actual projection target is for the Nasdaq through there, and maybe even a bit lower there because that's actually not a support level at all. So maybe even a bit lower there for the Nasdaq, but that's what the market is actually telling us right now. So the Nasdaq could actually get hit quite hard when it comes to the markets there. Again, the S&P 500. If we have a look at this from a head and shoulder perspective, we've got more like a leaning head and shoulder. So we've got like this maybe being the neckline. So that probably being the neckline through there. And we can see that that's the shoulder, the head, the shoulder formation. And now we're breaking down. So we're breaking down out of that now. So we're probably going to see a movement down towards that level there somewhere, I would say. Yeah, so around the 4,000. Look like there's this sort of significant sort of support and resistance level around this here. So looks like the S&P 500 is going to get down to there. Is there anything going on the Nasdaq that I can see? Shoulder, head, shoulder formation. Nothing really much going on there, but they're the different targets I would say, at least on the short term. We're probably going to drop a bit below that. And the Nasdaq, again, this is the target here for this projected pattern that I'm seeing right now on this. We definitely do have We definitely do have something through there. See what I'm doing right now, guys? I'm trying to find any reasons why the market... No, okay. The market's rolling over now, and until this thing starts to change a trend, until we start to get a high-low breaker past previous highs, the market is now down trending, okay? And so I need to respect that, and I need to listen to that, and I need to listen to what the market is telling me. So traders, get ready for initially a quite sharp drop in the market for the next maybe week or two. But after that, we're probably going to see one crazy move, because this dip into October is going to be bought into, and we're going to see one crazy move back to the upside after this 10 or so percent correction in the markets. So I hope this helped you out today, guys. Once again, I am running a 70% off sale to my coaching program. The reason why I'm doing this is because I just spoke to someone from the application and I offered it to him. So I thought it'd be the right thing to do to also offer it to you as well too. It is literally just for one day. So very first link in the description, guys, go check that out. And on the very next page, you'll be able to see, one, all the details about the coaching program. And secondly, you'll be able to get access to that straight away right now. Go do that right now, because once it's done, I close it down, and then at the end of the year, I generally open up my coaching program at the end of the year for the full price to fill up for the next following year. So if you want my coaching, get in early right now, get a 70% discount and get more than 1 year. Now is your time. Click on the link right now. Go secure your spot, and I look forward to speaking to you real soon.